world of gamers. As promised, here's a little upload showing my current video game collection. This bookcase I've had since the first time I uploaded a video to YouTube, which was quite some time ago. The collection has changed massively over the years. It's inflated and decreased in size as I've worked towards collecting the things that I really want to collect. I've always bought games and sold games with the intention of buying Atlus games, which can sometimes be quite pricey. So in order to fund buying Atlus games, sometimes I've bought games just to simply hold on to until the prices increase, which happened for a lot of years that I was collecting. It's not the case now. Yes, games do still go up in price. However, prices are quite high for some games, and it tends to be the case that if you're buying to invest to sell later on, it's not the wisest thing to do right now. I wouldn't recommend it anyways. I was buying games when prices were very low, and then prices went up, especially during pandemic times. And then at the end of the pandemic, prices started coming back down, and I was able to capitalize on that. But then in the following years and months since the end of the pandemic, I've noticed that we're kind of in a stable economy where there's not much difference between prices going up and down. Anyways, the video is about the current collection. Just starting off on the top there with some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan when I was younger, and I've been buying the figures just for nostalgia really, and just to put something a little bit different on the shelves. The top shelf is primarily Atlus video games. I will be pulling games out and making videos about the Atlus games I have in my collection. There seems to be a lack of content on YouTube with regards to Atlus, even though they are hugely popular, especially for video game collectors. It might just be that I'm not finding the content for some reason. So that's part of the reason why I decided to start making videos again, because I want to put out what it is that I have in my collection and what I would like to have in my collection, because for me, Atlus video games are very unique, or they used to be. I know they're focusing a lot now on making Atlus games a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, a bit more mainstream, I guess. There was another word I was looking for, but it just completely disappeared from my head. They used to be quite niche. They used to have some quite unique games that would be put out in low print runs. And I've been steadily collecting what I can over the years. There's still a lot that I need to put in the collection, that I would like to put in the collection. And without pulling stuff out today, that's a good look at, or it's an idea, should I say, of what I have, because there are games behind games, so you can't see exactly everything at the moment. Moving down over, I have some piles which are games that I'm going to be selling. I've decided to start to sell off some of the stuff that I have, and the main reason for that is that I'm preparing for a holiday, and I'm just putting in some extra funds towards that holiday by selling off some games that I'm no longer bothered about keeping. It's mainly Xbox on this middle shelf. If anyone comes across this channel again and remembers the content that I used to upload, I've said many times that the original Xbox is one of my favourite consoles of all time, because when I was younger, I was one of the only people that I knew. Well, obviously I knew myself. Well, actually, we could say that I didn't know myself when I was younger, but that's a story for another day. But of all the people that I knew, should I say, I was one of the only people with an Xbox. There weren't very many people invested Everybody wanted a PS2, everybody had a PS2. I was an Xbox gamer, and therefore I have focused on collecting Xbox games over the years. It is starting to become a smaller collection as I weed out terrible games that I don't want to play, or I've played a little bit of and just thought, nah, I'm not keeping them anymore. It is now becoming a collection of games that I have an interest in playing all the way to the end, or a collection of games that for one reason or another are a little bit unique, like Castlevania on Xbox and Conga. I'm just trying to quickly grab a few as examples of why I'm keeping a hold of them. I do have an Atlus game in there which I'll pull out in another video. I do have 2 Atlus games on the Xbox, and they're all, I think there's one other, there might be 2. There's one other that I can think of. And then down below, biggest collection that I have at the moment is the Xbox 360. Another of my favourite consoles. I naturally went from the original Xbox to the Xbox 360. I have lots of memories of playing some very good games over the years on the 360. It is a sexy console, the 360. And there's still many more games that I have here that I need to play. My modern gaming collection consists primarily of Nintendo Switch games. I got into the Nintendo Switch very late, and in terms of buying games, that isn't a bad thing because I managed to get a lot of games at much lower prices than what they originally were selling for. The Switch is somewhat of a collector's choice these days, especially now that the Switch 2 has come out. I've noticed that some of the prices of Switch games are starting to creep up, and they may go up and up and up and up and up for the simple fact that it's going to be one of the last handhelds where you actually have games on the cartridge, which I know has been causing a bit of a stink, but we'll not get into that. So slowly coming towards the end of this video, I just wanted to basically give a little bit of a story about where I've been, what I've been doing in terms of collecting, and how it is looking today, and what the plans are for the future. The plans for the future for collecting, as I said right at the beginning, it's primarily just focusing on Atlus, buying and selling so that I can fund buying Atlus games. But I'm also going to be collecting for the Switch as well. The original Xbox, I have pretty much everything that I want, bar a few games. The Xbox 360, there is not a lot that I want to put into that collection. I've had, over the years, almost everything that you can think of, and I've sold all of the heavy hitters, bar a few, to fund this almighty collection up the top, which we're going to get into in the coming videos. I will basically just pull out one game at a time, talk about it, if I've played it, if I haven't played it, if I intend to play it, etc, etc, etc. And that will be about it. But I will also be looking at all of these games as well. So there's a lot of videos that can be made alongside other video game related content, because I'm not just a collector, I am also a gamer. I love playing games. I've got consoles all over the house, I've got handhelds all over the house. I've got modern consoles and retro consoles. Well, when I say retro consoles, I don't go as far back as the cartridge-based systems. For one reason or another, I just never got into collecting for those, even though I have some fond memories. Emulation's been the thing for me, and I think emulation just made it more accessible. That's it for now. Bye for now. I hope everybody out there in the world is doing okay, and if you're not, ask for help.